So, we have all heard this one song. Or perhaps this one. Both of these songs and a lot of other very good ones are from the game Undertale. A game that has been on my list of games that I want to play for a long time, and luckily it was on sale this week. So I took some time and money for myself this weekend to finally boot up the game and try it out. And I gotta say, I did not regret it one bit. Let me show you how it went. I gotta say, it starts in a rather unconventional way, not full screen. And I gotta say, I was a little skeptical at first because I thought I downloaded a virus, but I mean it's on Steam, so the chances of that being the case were quite low. Anyway, we start off with a prologue explaining how the two dominant races of the planet, being the monsters and the humans, had a war, which the monsters lost. Thus, the humans banished the monsters into the underground with a magic spell. Many years later, there was a rumor that if anyone climbed Mount Abbott, they shall never return. And in the images, we see a human kid who falls down a hole in said mountain, but survives, and that's where the story begins. We wake up on a bed of flowers. While getting used to the controls, I wander around a bit, only to stumble upon this lonesome flower. With a big fat grin on its face, he explains to me how things work around here, telling me how the heart represents my soul, which starts out weak, but with LV, which stands for love points, I can get stronger. He offers me some LV and, well, I obviously accept this kind offer. Why wouldn't I? I was a bit hesitant at first, but what bad could happen? After all, it's only a flower. And how wrong I would be in the future. Anyway, I accept the offer and I get taught a hard lesson. The way things are around here is kill or be killed. These are the rules of this land. But before he can kill me, I get saved by a ball of fire. After having to experience this gruesome murder, this lady appears named Toriel that heals me and shows me the way to her humble abode through the ruins. While on our way home, she also teaches me about puzzles scattered all over with the sole intent to capture humans that fall down the mysterious hole. She teaches me how to deactivate these traps and how to fight. But I don't want to fight with words, I want to fight with my hands, which I obviously do. Toriel, though, doesn't really appreciate that. Now, halfway through, she leaves me alone, but not because she abandoned me. Well, she kinda did, but after reaching the end of the hallway, she reappears telling me she only did this to test my independence. And now she leaves for real, leaving me with nothing but a phone and telling me to stay right here, where I am. Obviously, I do the exact opposite and wander off, exploring and solving more puzzles, killing creatures and coming across interesting figures. After almost finishing my expedition, I again run across Toriel, who brings me to my new home. A home where I did not want to be. While I might have my own room, a bed and pie, I could not live here. This was no place for a kid to grow up. So I go and tell Toriel exactly that. I wanted to go home, and after I torment her long enough, she eventually gets up and runs off. Well, I don't know where, but eventually I find her in the basement. She tells me about a gate leading to the rest of the underground and that if I leave, I will die to a certain Asgore. Her plan is to destroy said gate, but I keep her from doing that. And the only solution for me to leave is to face her. She tells me to prove myself, but this wasn't what I wanted, and neither did Toriel want this. So I spared her over and over and over again until she eventually gives up. After this fight, she agrees with me. This is no place for a kid to grow up in, and if I leave, I may never return. Those were her last words. She gives me a hearty hug, as well as a last glimpse, after which I step beyond the gates of the ruins. Well, before I was actually able to leave, I run into Flowey again, who yaps about anyone being able to be Toriel's pet, but I ignore him. On the other side of the gates, nothing but dense forest and snow. But a path which I follow. until eventually I come across this bridge, which is when I hear footsteps behind me, asking me if I didn't know how to greet a new pal, and oh my god, it's Sans. I might have not played the game, but I saw this guy in so many memes, heard his theme in so many videos, and oh man, is it a pleasure to finally see him in action. So we talk, and he tells me his brother, who's a human hunting fanatic, is right over the bridge. Now, because his brother named Papyrus is a human hunting fanatic, I hide behind a conveniently shaped lamp and listen to Papyrus talking about how he is going to be a great hero if he catches a human, and Sans telling him jokes. Now, after he leaves, Sans tells me how happy Papyrus would be if he could meet a human, and I shall fulfill that wish. So I show myself to Papyrus.
Huh? 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 Huh?
And he is indeed happy, but also insists on capturing me, in a non-violent manner of course. Thus, he leaves and sets up a bunch of puzzles. I mean, traps. So after a while I run across some of his very well thought out contraptions, as well as Sans's. I also find out that Papyrus is a real spaghetti fanatic and finds Junior Jumbo to be very hard. And obviously I have to agree with him on that. And that the costume he wears has not been washed in a very long time. Now, after passing numerous of Papyrus's puzzles, I come across this bridge, which is also a trap. But Papyrus doesn't use it since this method is too direct and not up to his standards, ultimately sparing me. With the bridge crossed, I arrive in Snowdin, where I explore the town, buy myself some food, and run into Papyrus again and have a showdown. But as with Toriel, he's too much of a good fella to kill, so I again activate spare after spare after spare until he eventually spares me. After which he complains that he will never be able to join the Royal Guard. To change that, I become his friend. So we meet up, take a walk around, and hang out in his bedroom together. He shows me his book and his action figure collection, dress up cool for me, and I become his ultimate friend. But he goes out to tell his friend about me, a certain Undyne. After this immaculate friend-making session, I continue my journey into this cave, where I found Papyrus and Undyne talking about me. And this Undyne is not as friendly as Papyrus made him look. Instead, he wanted to destroy me. And having one close call was seemingly not enough. So I narrowly escaped this awkward situation, as well as this yellow creature. But I quickly forget about him. So I venture deeper into the caverns until I find these ominous docks, where I run for my life, getting hit not once but twice, until I find a large patch of tall grass, but she follows. Grabs something which I initially thought was me, but it's luckily not me. It was this yellow creature again, who afterwards says she will never wash her face again. Continuing onwards, I come across talkative squids, this statue playing music, which is a puzzle that I solved absolutely without help, and this artifact that gets absorbed by a dog. Nice. At the end of the cave, this yellow thing appears again and decides to tag along, praising Undyne. As we get out of the cave, we have a nice scenic view, at the end of which I sadly have to leave this yellow thing behind. So I continue alone, but not for long, because for the third time Undyne appears and chases me down on this wooden platform. Just as I thought I lost her, I was proven wrong. She approaches, cuts down the platform, and I fall. But I wake up in this pond filled to the brim with trash, and amongst the trash is this dummy. I ignore it, but the dummy doesn't ignore me. It actually wants to take over my body as a vessel of his own, but I will not let him. While I didn't defeat him, there was no need to do that. Not like I really could anyway, since he's incorporeal. But he left. I keep walking where I found this ghost living alone, his snail farm, and a racetrack, as well as this turtle that was selling scrumptious crab apples, which I obviously bought a couple of. Back in the cave, I completed one maze after the other to find my way out of it. Until, for the fourth godforsaken time, Undyne interrupts me. But it seems I'm not the only one getting interrupted. Just as he almost skewered me with his spear, this yellow fucker appears again. Undyne was, well, understandably infuriated and drags the yellow thing by his ears to a unknown location. But he wasn't gone for long. On his bridge, not far, he reappears, asking me if I'm human and explaining that he's supposed to hate me. After some lame insults, he was leaving but tripped and almost fell off the bridge, barely hanging on for dear life. So I gave him a reason to hate me. I just stared how he struggled, and as he was about to fall to his death, Undyne saves him. But this action would not be without repercussion, because as I left the cave, he stood there. He yapped about how Asgore needed one more soul to overthrow the humans and give the monsters the life they deserved. Uh-oh. Okay, so it was a fight now. Well, not quite. While Undyne wanted me dead, I did not return those feelings. So as with Toriel and Papyrus, I kept sparing. Up until the point where there was no more reason to do that, so I fled. I ran so far we have reached a volcanoous area, where seemingly it was too hot for Undyne to survive, and not long after he just collapsed. Conveniently though, there was a cool water dispenser not far, so I took a cold, refreshing glass of water and poured it over him. He resurrected, stared around a little bit, and left, never to be seen again. So I kept going, up until the point where I found this laboratory. At first it seemed abandoned and creepy, since there was a camera system set to observe me at all times. And so I found out that the laboratory was in fact not abandoned. No, Dr. Alphys inhabited it. This quirky little lizard was not out to harm me. Quite the opposite actually, because when she first saw me in the forest fighting all the evil monsters, she was inspired by me and chose not to destroy me, but help me on my journey. She also told me about a robot she had built for entertainment, which she had recently reprogrammed for my demise. Well, wonderful, that's just splendid. And just as she was talking about him, he appeared. But not with bad intent. Instead, with a game show. Specifically with a quiz show, which I horribly failed, but Alphys helped me out. With that, the game got too predictable for Mettaton and he left me alone. So it was back to the road. I conquered steam pad labyrinths, spaceship puzzles, as well as laser mazes until I end up in this dark room. Alphys luckily turns on the lights and there was a cooking show! Me and Mettaton were going to bake a cake, a human flavor cake. But Alphys had a great idea to save my ass. She suggested the cake to be vegan and to use a substitution to the human flavor, an artificial flavor. Luckily, there was a substitution right there over on the counter. So I went to get it. It was right at hand, so why shouldn't I? Oh my god. Welp. Again, Alphys comes in to save the day with a jetpack built into my phone. So I get the substitution, but for no reason, since there was already a cake baked. Well, back on my way, I come across Sans, who sold me a hot dog as well as a hot cat? Okay. Soon after, I get interrupted by these two buff knights who were warning me about a human in a striped shirt. Well, that sure is awkward. Well, after I made them fall in love with each other, I went back on my way to continue my obligation. And after solving another ridiculous challenge from Mettaton, I meet this weird spider trying to sell me spider croissants and donuts. I mean, might as well get some food on the... I ain't got that kind of money. I obviously deny it, but she did not like me. Because as I was done with more puzzles, I come across this cave filled to the brim with cobwebs. I expect the worst, and it becomes reality. And after a long fight, she wanted to spare me, but I refused to let her go. So I landed the final blow and ultimately killed her. Too bad, Spidey. And as if that wasn't enough, I had to endure another one of Mettaton's performances. I gotta say, he is quite creative, and he did choose his career pretty well. He tried to defeat me again, but instead I found a way to destroy him. But his death wasn't very convincing. This was the one time his acting was not convincing. Anyway, I bought some more ice cream for the road, had one last dinner with Sans before leaving, and had a nice chat with the fast food worker. Or more like a, I don't know, disturbing one. But this was it. It was so close to the exit of this dreaded place. It was within reach. So I fought my way through hordes of enemies, more lasers and more spaceship puzzles. I also stole some things out of trash cans, but psh, like some money and some food. And at the final elevator, the last piece of the road, at the end of my journey, I had a choice. Do I take the elevator, the easy way out, or do I enter the doorway to a place unknown to me? Well, of course I take the doorway. Duh, what did you think? Easy way out? Hell nah. And it was Mettaton again. Expecting another lame performance, I was mistaken. He was deceiving me the whole time. It was all an act. He didn't want to kill me. All he wanted to do was entertain. Oh, and how well he did that. I couldn't shoot him anymore. It did no damage. But there was one more way to defeat him, with a switch on his back. So I convinced him to turn around and flipped it. And how big of a mistake that was. With that action, this Nokia phone turned into fucking Michael Jackson. After a hard fight, and after all this time, I did it, striking the final blow. He was dead, for real this time, and there was nothing in my way indeed. And with that, I had reached the end of my path. Alphys explains to me that there is only one way to leave this realm. I need to use a monster soul, specifically Asgore's soul. So as I ride the elevator, I think, is this really what I want? Is it really this bad to be here? And I come to the conclusion, yes, I have to go home, and I will. I explored this house that looked almost alike with Toriel's, and all of the mobs I have defeated told me a story about the king's son Asriel adopting a human child as their own, how the human has passed from an illness and was returned by Asriel to the humans, and how the humans blamed him for the child's death and pummeled him to the point where he died as well, thus making the humans' downfall the king's only goal, separating the king and queen from each other. I also ran across Sans for the final time. He judges me based on my actions, understandably to be honest, telling me that XP means execution points and love means level of violence. These things indicate how much pain and suffering I have caused. Actions have consequences, but it is up to me what the future brings. So I head up to the throne room and face Asgore. At first he seems kind of friendly, like he doesn't even want to hurt me. But he is sadly well aware of what lies ahead of us. He even offers me to take care of unfinished business if I happen to have any. Well, I don't, so I decline. And as with the others, like Toriel, Undyne, and all of them, I try to, have mercy and not to hurt him, because I don't want to fight you, man. I just want to leave. I want to go home. But he literally leaves me no choice. If your last wish is to meet your wife and children, I will fulfill that last wish. And just as I thought that I had finished the game, I was greatly mistaken. Flowey reappears, telling me how I finally understand the rules of the underground, and steals the hearts. It is kill or be killed. With a devilish laugh, he absorbs the hearts and just closes my game. Like, what the But I mean, I guess I'm technically done? Or am I? Since my curiosity was overwhelmed, I reopened the game. And surprisingly, I don't find myself back on the title screen. Oh no, Flowey will not let me go that easily. He absorbs all the hearts, and with that enters his true form. And no man, fuck that. I cannot beat that. But as I sit in the Steam library, I think to myself, is this how I want it to end? Am I just going to give up and let Flowey live? Or am I going to man up and face him like a real motherfucker? Oh fuck it, I'm going to face him like a real motherfucker. And as I hardly dodge his attacks, this thing appears. A act button. Barely alive, I press it and I get help. One of the hearts appears and it heals me. And getting healed, thus giving me a second chance, fills me with determination. So I keep going. And again, hearts appear and heal me. Make me stronger. And after I have freed every single heart, I too reach my final form. So bear witness and feast your eyes on two gods clashing over the possession of the key to freedom. And I was already picturing home in front of my eyes as I watched him perish, but I guess I really am just an idiot. And as I was about to perish, for the first time, I was not the one getting bamboozled. Now I was given a choice to either spare Flowey and who knows what he will do next, or to finish him, and I didn't have to think twice about that decision. Now that he's just a normal, unsuspecting flower, I leave.